Thank you so much, Gummy, for the most epic throw of all time. I appreciate it. We are getting ready for this game number 2, though, Rebel. And just needing to see some life out of RPI. I have to say, I really want to see something come up again. I'm going to highlight it again, but JQC Boz, I want to see something come out for him. He is facing up against Winston, one of these top-tier junglers, as we've talked about so many times around. But this is the game to step up, right? This is it. You've got your backs against the wall. You lose, you're out. This will be your only ticket. It'll be the round of 32. So I really want to see RPI try to have something different.
I think I could agree with that as well. We've talked about this a number of times, being able to throw something at the wall and make it stick. I actually don't know that necessarily it's there for RPI, only because I feel like if you're playing standard, if you're playing the way that we saw them play in the first game, there's still a chance that you can take games and such off the side of their opposition here. So you don't necessarily have to get super crazy. If you've got something back pocket or you've got something prepared, absolutely use it, because that's 100% the case.
Yeah.
But don't go nuts in this game. Don't pick every single thing under the sun, because you absolutely can stand against this Western roster in the right circumstances.
Yeah, we are getting a switch up of sides, so RPI will be on the blue side, Western on the red side, changing up a little bit, although giving some counter pick potential there to Western. Maybe going to be a little bit interesting to see how they kind of adapt to that. Tristana, first ban away from RPI. Ooh, the bar too. All right. I see it. You know, just try to get some of that away from RPI. They don't want to give it over.
JJ Kidd's a mean Bard player.
He
if
is.
you got that, if you like I said, when it comes to the comfort stuff, if you have a game plan like what RPI had last time, and you're able to play with like the level you did in the previous game with all the comfort of the champions that you're best on, that's the recipe for success here for RPI. So Western not wanting to give it any even minor amounts of comfort over the other side. I do like, now that RPI is, of course, on the blue side, they're able to be a little bit more kind of flexible and lenient with the bans that they're bringing out. So they're taking the Senna off the board here from Sleepy Links, not wanting something crazy to come out there. Victor also taken away from Washed Up God. Again, these comfort champions got to be removed from the pool here.
Yeah, it's, you know, typical from the first game. ADFX, Short Hop doing their research, if you will, making sure. The Senna, not going to be there this time around for Sleepy Links. They're going to have to go with something maybe a little bit more active in that bot lane for Western. But RPI know that they don't want to deal with the strength, at least coming out of the bot lane, as their first 3 bans are going to be targeted down there.
I am curious now whether or not Thresh gets through. They banned it first from Western, but now RPI is going to have to be the team that snags it away at B1, or they're giving Thresh over to the side of Skytech, which is a really strong support. We're seeing them like hover it right now. Again, I think they can take it. I think it's an amazing champion for them. And even worse, Western banned out the Rumble. I think they were trying to call the bluff here and say, okay, RPI, you're not going to pick Thresh, and they just picked Thresh. So now Western has been put into a, what are you taking in the bottom lane to punish it? I'm curious if Skytech, outside of Rakan, of course, has any other really aggressive or like damage-oriented type supports, because those typically do pretty well into the likes of the Thresh.
Most played is set. We'll see. Maybe we get the redemption set arc on the other side of the map this time around. But we'll see how these first couple picks come through for Western. None of those. It's going to be the Nautilus coming in for Skytech. Maybe we'll get AP Nautilus. That's what I want to see.
I'm going to doubt
AP
that.
attack speed Nautilus, the great times. Good times.
I remember every Nautilus build. My favorite version of Nautilus was like the triple Doran swing top lane. I know it wasn't fun to play into, but it was a really entertaining meta to see just like these like AP Bruiser tanky style top laners with triple Doran. So it was like Galio, Gragas, and Nautilus top lane, which was really fun. But that's not at all what we're going to get today. This would be amazing, though, because then we mentioned it last game. You're playing the Jinx, much like the Caitlyn. They don't go to Caitlyn. Instead, they go over to the Aphelios. I was excited to see Caitlyn. I thought that was a pick that could have got it to him. It is. It's ridiculously played by Coog. And it would have fit in, I think, exactly to what they wanted. But Aphelios is a lot more like AoE and teamfight style oriented. And I think that's what they've been going for more than anything here.
Yeah. And especially with the Thresh, right? That's a tried and true combo. We've seen a lot of the times. It's a very strong duo, at least the Thresh Aphelios, but they tie it up with JQC Boz picking up the Udyr, something we have not really seen today, at least not even in the bans, nothing like that, but it's going to come through this time around for RPI, and the Nocturne is the response for Western.
Yeah. Potential flex between both like top lane. I don't know if Loyal plays it in the mid lane, but definitely out of the jungle position with Winston as a response necessarily to what it is that's brought by the likes of this Udyr. The Udyr is interesting because again, it was super high priority. Like 1 patch ago, 2 patches ago, it was all Udyr, all Hecarim pretty much exclusively. This patch, everything. Last patch also kind of threw everything into Tizzy, and nobody could figure things out. For the most part, it's been all AP junglers for the most part.
Yeah.
But now we come back to a bit more comfort. Maybe this is JQC going back to something a lot more standard from previous that he has a bunch of practice on, because this has been what's standard for the most part, getting himself that footing that's necessary. The Olaf was the same way, but this is a lot tankier. This has a lot more kind of a different play style necessarily than what the Olaf would bring.
Yeah, speaking of differences, we're getting some different focuses here in the second phase. As GP banned away by Western, one of most played obviously for Karis Last, also has that global pressure where you can help out your teammates. Cannon Barrage don't want to deal with that one. The Aatrox also the ban away from Western. They want to take away that top lane. Meanwhile, RPI took away the Orianna, some great teamfight potential, something Loyal has played a ton of. And I wonder if we still see that focus towards the mid lane now that the first pick for Loyal, or the highest pick for Loyal is gone, or if we see maybe something towards Chimp, who kind of dominated last game. Yep, there it is. Ha! I got the big brain over here, Rebel. It's me. It's me, the analyst. No, but Set is the last ban for RPI.
Yeah. So 2 ways to go about this. You could pick a jungle champion that flexes with top lane to have that viability between Nocturne and, of course, whatever champion you would pick. The alternative is to pick mid lane and pick something blind, and that's exactly what they do. They go back to the Azir. I think Loyal was good on it in the last game, had some nice ultimates, put out some good damage. I'm perfectly comfortable with that. Now you get a chance to see what it is. This is a really old-time counter pick. I feel like Washed Up John would be the one to pick it, unfortunately, if it were anybody. And I would love to see an AP Kog'Maw, because I get to throw back to 2015 when I first started watching this game and do some analysis, which would take me back into a nostalgia area, which would be really fun. It's not going to happen. Of course it's not. No.
No, of course not. We don't give Rebel what he wants, except for yesterday. The fact that we got everything we wanted yesterday at the end of the series.
That's right.
Renekton, though, is going to be there. So very strong top laner, something a little bit, I feel like, better for Karis Last than the Ornn, where typically you are seeing Karis Last on like the Aatroxes, the GPs, those kind of things, those aggressive top laners. So he does get the Renekton this time around. And the last pickup for RPI is something that we've been talking a lot about behind the scenes, is the Vladimir rising to priority.
Yeah, so Vladimir in the previous patch was exceptionally strong. In this patch, they nerfed him 0.15 second cooldown on the Q per level, which is just the most obscenely disgusting nerf I've ever seen. Just as bad as Aurelia's 5 movement speed from a few seasons back.
Oh my god, do it.
Champion's still super good. Okay, okay. So it will be the flex of the Nocturne into top lane, almost certainly, and the Morgana jungle stepping in. This is something we've seen quite a bit. Are they getting... Okay, they're probably not going for shenanigans. They're just reorder champions and such as we go.
I am really upset at myself for getting excited about a Morgana jungle. I'm just going to call myself out right now. But I just am so excited to see Winston on this pick, and especially with the rest of the composition they have. Like I feel like it could be a really strong outing for Western, a little bit different, right, than what we've been seeing. It's a little bit more setup oriented, but the Rumble with the Equalizer is a little bit of a setup oriented champion himself. So we'll see how that goes down. A lot of CC available on the side of Western, a lot of team fight capabilities though on RPI's side.
That they do. A ridiculous amount of like team fight that actually come out when you combine like the Hemo Plague with like an ultimate, especially a Moonlight Vigil, a really big Inferno Moonlight Vigil with a Hemo Plague will pretty much one-shot Western's composition because of how squishy they are. So this is a lot more of an aggressive composition from Western, where it's like, okay, you've got Morgana, who could try to get aggressive into the likes of Udyr by like hitting Qs and Ws and things like that. Camps get cleared really quickly. You have the aggressive top lane champion, which is like Nocturne's good into most fighters for a lot of different reasons, and you've got the ability to poke down with Azir in mid lane, so you should have priority there because of the range advantage. You got Jinx on bottom side to drop rockets into the enemies. Like Western, they're looking to put some more abuse into the side of RPI in this one.
And I love the change up, the look change up at least of Western for the bot side. You know, Sleepy Link's not going to be on that Senate, going to be farming himself, going to be on the Jinx that Koog performed so well on last time around. Maybe a little confidence builder there if you can take it to Koog on that champion. But I do feel like it's going to be an interesting bot lane early on. I do feel like there's going to be a little bit of volatility down there as well with the engages. See who gets level 2, who at least is going to get some influence from the jungle. Because I don't feel like it's the same that we saw last game, Rebel, where we saw very different strategies, obvious strategies that we saw opposite sides of the map being focused. This time around, it's a little bit all over the place.
Just a bit. Western, they actually have relatively similar compositions when you're looking at them just like on a blank slate, only because it's like, okay, you've got two fighter top laners, you've got two scaling decent mid laners in that regard, and I think both do well in team fighting. You've got two big AoE ADCs that do really well in the 5-on-5 as well, two hook based supports. Like the everything drags on and on. I think the difference is that Western, for the most part, has advantages in these lanes to get going a little bit faster. This bottom lane is that point where I do think that RPI actually could attack and make some things happen in the earlier phases, because like Nautilus isn't a perfect counter into Thresh. I always say it's not something that I would go for specifically in this like first phase. So there's a plan for it from Skytech. I think it's really good for setting up certain compositions and into like melee champions or lower range champions like Vladimir and the Udyr and stuff that's going to be coming in. It's really good as a swader to try to buy more space for Sleepy Link. Same with like Loyal, where Loyal's ultimate is going to be really useful for making sure to buy space for Sleepy Links to go forward in fights. So that strike does have to come a little bit earlier for RPI before that phase starts to come in.
Yeah, I do wonder like the difference in pathing, the kind of difference in mentality that we're going to see from JQC Boz, because that Olaf was not feeling good. And I said it going into the analyst desk after game number 1, like, you've got to stop the bullying. And I don't necessarily feel like there's a lot of pieces to do so, right? You were talking a little bit about that lane dominance potentially coming out for Western, and that leads to, lanes staying where they're at, not being able to kind of have that roaming potential. And maybe Winston has a little bit different of an approach this time around on the Morgana, maybe not as bully heavy, but I still do feel like you can. And especially in Udyr, who has to run at you, is not going to be liking those dark bitings. I mean, those jukes are going to have to be on point for JQC Boz.
And not to mention, I mean, when you're contesting in River for fights and stuff, like, even if Udyr is able to dodge out on Dark Bindings, like, the Black Shield prevents you from getting stunned out by the Bear Stance and stuff, so that stalls time for your lanes to arrive. When it comes to, like, neutral objective control, typically Morgana's really good at zoning, and now the W being the max, of course, does a ridiculous amount of damage. And when you have set up, like, CC to work with in any lane whatsoever, and you compare that with Morgana, all of a sudden, now you've got this incredible ganker as well that just makes it so difficult to try to aggress anywhere. I feel like this Morgana champion, it doesn't necessarily like just win the game for Western, but there's a lot that can be done by Winston in this one to actually take a fair amount of the map pressure and convert it into very tangible resources like gold and kills and towers and stuff. And it's not like I said, it's not necessarily on him to do that, but it gives him a lot of that ability to play. I feel like Winston has been unlocked within this game right now on this Morgana pick.
Yeah, hasn't even started yet either. Yeah, I want to see where he kind of goes with those resources, especially. But my eyes are on RPI's lanes, right? I can feel for Boz all day long, but if you can't get the lane priorities, if you can't get the help from the lanes, there's no chance, right? You've got to find some resources early on this Udyr. You need to get a lead going early on. You need to get the pace going early on, and because we know how quickly Morgana can clear once she gets to that item spike, once she's able to get that tormented soil up and damaging, right? And so if you can find that early aggression for Boz, that's where I feel like at least the success can come for RPI in the second game.
Yeah, I think that's the case as well. If RPI is able to kind of mitigate what it is that Morgana is doing across the map and start to aggress some of the lanes, I think that's perfectly fine. I feel as though that's not going to happen, unfortunately, for RPI. We had the same kind of idea in the last game where I was like, okay, if the Olaf is going well, then maybe they can take some mid-game fights. But because that didn't happen, they ended up waiting for that late-game fight. And yeah, they won a couple with the Jinx, but that was about it. So in this one, they're doing a very similar strategy. I will say I like that they've got multiple damage sources now where it's like, okay, there's not Seraphine who's running Shirelius. Now it's a Vladimir out of the mid lane. Now you've got Renekton out of the top lane. You have people that you can attack for early on the map. So you've got a lot more resources now if you're the side of Boz, who's now able to walk into multiple lanes and do some additional work.
Yeah, and I'm definitely wanting to see some action back down on the bot side today. I know we talked a lot about those lanes coming out from RPI, but especially this 2v2 matchup on the bot side, I feel like is going to have a lot to tell on how this early game is going to go, where the pressure is going to be, and how this kind of laning phase goes, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of potential for roaming, at least, that we didn't necessarily see too much of in game number 1, but this game does seem like it's setting up that way.
Yeah, we've got a fair amount of action to be pushed by Western to start this game, and the more that they accomplish early, the better that this goes, and the easier their team is to play. I will say the less that they accomplish, the harder it is for this team to play, and the easier it is for RPI to play. So this feels really heavily like Western has now taken complete control of the game, and that's good for a team who's as good as Western. But it does mean if you're not playing or if you're not comfortable on some of the stuff that you're playing, like again, how good is Winston on this Morgana jungle? If he isn't quite comfortable with it, doesn't understand some of the timings and things, doesn't necessarily get into lanes at the right opportunity to attack, maybe there is space for RPI to come back into this one. This is a mistake-driven possibility of attacking for RPI, which is what they did well in the previous game, and maybe that's something that their coach is going for, is just making sure that they're set up to punish some of the mistakes that could come out from Western in the right situation.
And we have seen Morganas not perform the best as we've always seen them do, but Winston is another animal. Winston is a beast. We'll see what he can do on this Morgana, as well as we're going to be getting into game here real shortly, as it's going to be interesting to see early game again. I still think that objective control is going to be huge for this one as well. I think we saw that the last game, at least, it was huge for Western, and this time around a little bit more onus on that one, maybe for JQC Boz. But we do hit the rift. RPI versus Western, game number 2, match point for Western.
I can't stop thinking about the fact that Kog'Maw mid lane almost got picked, and I would have been ecstatic to see it because, again, it was a counter pick in the olden days to Azir. I also can't stop thinking about the dogs we got to see on our desks. So
I know.
we got so many things distracting.
Oh my god, I'm in love.
I think you're just an animals person.
I want an animal. Yeah.
You just love animals in general.
Yeah, hey, it kind of goes with the background a little bit. Rebel, I'm a little sad we don't see, the electrocute Nautilus this time for SkyTech or something along those lines. Maybe Dark Harvest. Why not? Come on. No, it's going to be tried and true here for both squads.
First off, if you're going to be going for something that's a little out of the ordinary, I'm convinced 100% that Phase Rush Nautilus is the move. So that you can go schmoovin through a team to auto attack people with that like disruption, and you can go really, really fast through them to do that. It's like Braum, but like better because your CC is instant instead of having to be like applied over time. So that's really nice. But I'm not going to talk about that because SkyTech can do it. Hey, SkyTech's so good. He played Electrocute Rakan. He made it look amazing. He can play whatever he wants. He's better at this game than I am. All of these players are infinitely better at the game than I am.
I do like the early lane dominance coming out from SkyTech and Co, though. They take out the ward placed there by Koog. Get a little bit of that XP advantage as well. We'll see how this laning phase goes, though. But my eyes are on the jungle, Rebel. So we're getting opposite side starts for both of them.
Yeah, relatively even start already. A little bit of AP and a couple of levels into the W goes a long way. So this very early clear should be fine for Udyr to match what Winston is doing. But Winston will catch up eventually when it comes to the clear speed. Also takes the smaller camps and the AoE camps much faster than Boz does, only because the Phoenix stance is great, don't get me wrong, but that Tormented Soil is so quick to take down low health enemies. You're going to see that on that Raptor camp. You saw already down to a quarter health at that point. And Contest already, Loyal getting a ward down to track where Boz is as fast as possible. Zactor's already done with the Raptor camp. Yeah, this is the speed that we're talking about with the Morgana. This is why she got added into the pool so quickly by so many junglers, just because of how quickly these camps go down to this W. This Tormented Soil is ridiculous at taking jungle camps.
Yeah, I just think it's crazy how healthy you can come away from that blue Gromp leash up there in the blue side for red for Winston. Like he was 3/4 health.
Winston turned around.
Really good. He did.
Look where Winston's at. He's going down to contest bottom crowd.
He knows. They know where JQC Boz is going. They want to kind of contest that one, and Scuttle Crab coming up. Maybe some focus down towards bot side.
Yeah, Winston's just walking immediately into bot side.
Oh my
Boz
God,
is really fast on this clear, though. Oh my goodness, yeah. This was really crazy from Winston. I thought this was going to lead to something important happening. It might still lead to a double scuttle because Nocturne's got priority on top side. But man, I got to give a ton of props there to Boz because his clearing had to be so picture perfect right there to make sure you could even find your way into that one. Because if Winston's a few steps ahead of you right there, you absolutely are able to potentially pull a kill with that priority you had in bot lane and the movement that was there from Sleepy Links. Big props to them.
I am going to give props to the other side. I think Winston is some big brain play coming out here with the turnaround, knowing where JQC Boz was going and being able to kind of get there, stop that scuttle crab take that was going to potentially be there for Boz, and now getting the double scuttle with the help
What?
of Chim from the top lane.
Did you say potentially be there? What do you think jungle pathing is? He
You
walked.
know,
He's just full clear
know.
into scuttle
He
crab.
could
You
go
know
bot
exactly.
lane, all right?
He could go bot lane, but he didn't. He got caught. Like Winston did a good job knowing, like with the information available, he found it out. I just have to give respect because again, if you're even one camp or one minion short of anything else going exactly as fast as it did, then boss probably dies right there. That's why I'm giving props over. That's the only reason.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of trading going on the bot side though, in favor of Western especially. We'll see how that kind of trading leans out, though. I do still feel like Coog has a lot of damage up his sleeve, can still be able to kind of take those trades back and forth. A lot of priority in mid lane right now for Washed Up John, though, as I do believe we're just going to get some backs coming through. Maybe bot lane and Skytech involved. Death Sentence is going to miss. A lot of damage from Sleepy Links there. Flash forwards to Skytech. Coog immediately flashes away as well, not wanting to give up first blood.
Yeah, Summoners burnt both of them on this. So now into top lane, Chim has a lot of damage. Oh!
Feels bad, man. Chim gets first blood. You get the pick. Cares less on the Renekton. Can't pull it off.
This is like part of the reason that fear is so hard to deal with if you're a melee champion, because if you're close enough to actually put autos in, you're going to get automatically feared, and if you're not, then you have to run immediately from the Nocturne. That's when Qs come in, you start to get barraged. If you turn to try to fight at any point in the Qs there, the additional like attack damage that you get from just the Q and that little path that's left by Nocturne makes it so hard to find fights. They actually find a nice play on a JJ Kip. There's a jungler here.
It's 3v3 going on. Got TPs now coming on. We got the full team coming on. Boz very low. There's the paranoia already. Chim eliminating people right now. You get the top 1v1 turning into a 4v1. Nice dredge line going in, but not going to get JJ Kid this time around.
No, it's not. The TP is just used defensively from RPI to try to make that one go away. Nobody's health bars were high enough to take that fight, and so unfortunately, Boz is left to his lonesome. This also opens up this bottom side dragon to be taken as the wave isn't in a great position. They're going to be able to back and reset it at mid, but just so many things flooding into the pockets of Western, especially Chim, who's able to find a kill into Cares Less in the beginning of this one in that solo lane, and then also a kill off that teleport, which he's getting so much advantage over top of his lane opponent at this point. That dragon's also going to be big because this is the bullying we expected out of Western to begin this game's draft.
And my biggest thing is that 10 CS lead gives that level lead over to Chim, where it gives the paranoia, where he gets that second kill. And here's that replay.
That is. We're seeing, so like I said, like there's not much to be done. JJK can't step in. Ku couldn't really step into that one. Unfortunately, the Udyr was in a rough position, but Chim comes in at level 6. He got that right at the end of that last fight that we had seen, and that ultimate was enough to just get him right on top of the Aphelios, who was down summoners from that previous engagement as well. So everything kind of compiled into the bottom lane, ending up getting collapsed upon, that dragon getting taken, and multiple kills coalescing into the pockets here of Chim, who's now going to be able to apply that into a matchup that already was going in his favor, which is humongous for the side of Western.
And I have to say, I kind of feel for Boz. He's getting bullied again by Winston, but in that fight, he literally couldn't move. And all the CS is coming in, or all the at least CC is coming in for Western. It makes your job as the Udyr so much harder. You no longer have the Ragnarok to get you out of all that. You literally just have to watch as your health gets burned. So I want to see how that kind of works out, how those fights work out, because he was deep. He was going for the kills, but couldn't follow it up.
Notice, if you will, they have wards down in the entire top side, or my apologies, the entire blue quadrant's there for Winston here for the side of Western as well. And he's stepping in there, but again, there's wards in the way. Oh, bottom lane. This is just, is he autoing?
Oh, JJ Kid! Yes, it is! That's going to be Sleepy Links picking up the kill. 3-0 already for Western.
It's complete bullying in the bottom lane now. They see... There? Yeah, Boz. Well, he was late there because again he was trying to find his way in. He was trying, but there's not much to be done, unfortunately. It's a shame because if he were down a little bit faster, but they knew where he was also because Winston had invaded the top side. So like it's Western again. They gave themselves a composition that's really good at just like enacting their will upon this map, and that's all they're doing is enacting their will on this map as long as possible. I want to see this. This is just a hook and then an auto attack to death coming out. From the side of Western here, where Sleepy Links is just going to continue to throw autos in. Yeah, you can see it again.
Yeah, the zap starts it off, and the dredge line onto the trap as well. Just too good, and that last rocket, Fishbones making it clean and Sleepy Lynx is going to get that one. And I have to say, it's looking really good for Western already. The plays, the mechanics coming out. They had already pinged the Rift Herald. Here we are back to live, and they're doing it about half health.
Especially with Winston sitting at low mana, this is a little bit rough. The jungle item does help with some of the regeneration, thankfully, so he was able to use a couple more Ws, but not backing right now has a decent advantage. Bottom side Scuttle's going to go. Maybe they can attack towards Koog, but Koog's on his lonesome right now. Oh, no.
Yeah, Koog going to be in some serious trouble here.
That Moonlight Vigil.
Pop. There's the TP just to try to save the day. But can he get it? Koog gets the outplay! And that's what you're looking for from the star of RPI.
Okay.
They're going to look for SkyTech here. SkyTech wanted the dredge line, but can't find it. And SkyTech will go down, and that's quick turnaround for RPI. Koog looking so dang good.
Perfect gun setup right there. Got a ton of chakram out because of that crescendum that was there on the white gun and the green gun combination, and it's really good for single target DPSing. I didn't think right there they were going to actually have any chance of coming back on that one, but of course, because of that gun setup, not expecting all the damage, maybe not enough from SkyTech coming in there alongside Sleepy Lynx to pull that kill. I don't know. I would have to see exactly what happened on that one, but either way, very well played by Koog to outplay that situation. He was really, really bad place right there, as you're going to see. He was pushed up pretty far, ends up getting the trap line drop behind him. Oh, it's because the Crescendum and the Severum, or exactly that combination too. And look at the number of chakram there. It's so close, and there's so many. He's just out
and the dredge line misses. Oh no.
That's
if SkyTech
why.
hits that one, that would have been it.
Yeah, for multiple reasons. A, because of the damage, and B, because of the CC. And then even worse, like, he can't find this return play either, and just ends up getting auto-attacked to death as well. So Koog gets a couple back here for the side of RPI.
All right, we got a party in the top lane, and unfortunately, it is going to be all to kill cares less. That's going to be another kill going over to Western, and even more gold as well. Boz and JJ Kid were right here to try and respond, but just a little bit late. I feel like that's the story of the game.
Fun little drive-by right there by pretty much the entire squad of Western underneath the tower. Yeah,
they're just chilling. They're vibing as a team right now.
That they are. JJ Kid, thankfully, is here to throw some wards down and kind of spoil all the vibes that they're attempting to generate. Oh, okay. Yeah, it is Thresh Lantern. Don't worry about it too heavily. Thankfully, that's the case. What's even funnier is, like, these mid laners have not really interacted all too much. It's mostly just been, like, Loyal kind of sitting there, and then it was Wash Up John on that one TP, which was pretty good. But now he even is under some duress as Winston steps in. He's just walking down towards Dragon at this point.
I want to see where this Rift Herald's going to go, right? I do think that it could be interesting on who they're going to try to get the gold to. We do have Sleepy Lynx in the mid lane now, just trying to scoop up all that farm as this Jinx that you can. We're getting those lane differences here. Ooh, no Black Shield, and the Lantern comes in. Actor, or at least Winston, going to get the Dark Binding to land it on the other end. Cares less, goes forward with the flash, gets the kill.
Very nicely played right there. They did burn a fair amount just because the flash from Careless was out and the Moonlight Vigil's down from Koog now, but at minimum, there's no jungler and there's not a lot of pressure to be put into this bottom river unless they're going for the 4-on-5 here. I think more than anything, Western is willing to give this one up as RPI, they've turned around.
That was so close. It at least hit this time.
Yes, it did. Previously, we've seen, I think, 2 or 3 of those during the course of this tournament alone, which just miss altogether, and we're like, oh, maybe it comes through. That was like 100 damage off of ending up stealing. But again, really solid fighting coming back from RPI. First off, over the ward gets seen. Yeah, JJ Kid really solid right here. The ultimate from Morgana almost gets Winston out, so I have to give a bunch of props to him for that one. But cares less, perfect use of the E and then the flash Q to be able to secure that kill. Again, killing off the jungler, pulling all pressure out of this bottom side river, being able to take the dragon as well off the back of that one. This is RPI fighting back within this series. This is the closest we've seen a game so far at only the 13.5-minute mark, being up only 1,000, 2,000 gold. That's going to be advanced here in just a second when these turret plates and this turret goes down for Sleepy Lynx. But either way, RPI is not going down without a fight in this series.
And that's absolutely what you have to appreciate here. They showed some glimpses of that in game number 1, and here they are in game number 2 doing mighty fine. JJ Kid also has been having some seriously great plays on the Thresh already as well, and that's what you expect from a Thresh, having been ban priority throughout the entire tournament pretty much so far. But being able to get it, being able to perform on it is a different question, and he's doing just that.
And remember also, so like Western just took a pretty sizable advantage where they're taking up like 3,500 gold here over their opposition. But more importantly, again, the less that they are able to accomplish in the early game when it comes to either gold or neutral objective, the better it is for RPI, because that gives time for Vladimir and for Aphelios to get into the later stages of the game when they're going to be a lot more useful and they're going to be able to take those team fights the way that they want to. And so far, again, 3,000 gold, it's nothing to scoff at. Don't get me wrong. But being tied in dragon count is pretty big. One tower isn't a ton for Western. I feel like this next dragon in the plays to compass around that particular objective is going to be where Western can definitely put the game away. And the defense from RPI, if it's good enough, could secure them the possibility of going into 5-on-5 territory in this game, which would be massive for this team composition.
I think my side eye is on Chim right now, though. I mean, he's got a big CS lead over Cares Less. He is on this Nocturne. We've seen Nocturnes, when they get behind, they aren't very necessarily good. You have a Chim Nocturne who's ahead right now and able to have about 2,000 gold in the lead and a couple squishy targets potentially there, but just the strength that comes from a Nocturne that is online, that does have strength, is so different and is such a different situation to play around if you are RPI.
The nice thing about this for RPI is that, of course, with the Thresh, you do have the option to pull somebody away from a Nocturne ultimate or into the rest of the team so that they can blow up the Nocturne. So Chim does have to be a bit selective with his target, because ideally you go into Koog, but again, if JJ Kid's there, you could definitely deflect that with some really reasonable skill, which it seems like JJ Kid has been able to do so far. And if you go on a Nocturne, the other really good target, of course, he has the W, so he's able to get out of that situation with relative ease. So Chim does have a fantastic character. In the side lane, he's pretty much unbeatable for the majority of this game, or at least for the majority of the remainder of the laning phase. But really, it is something that gets a little bit dicey as the game goes on to be like this consistent engage, unless you do start to continue this snowball and get a lot more damage onto it pretty quickly.
Yeah, Rift Herald number 2 is going to be taking, what is it, Shelly? Loyal with
Shirley.
the Emperor's Divine on the bot side. Flash from Washed Up John. Loyal's trying to get the outplay here. Hemo play is going to be huge, though, and Boz gets the kill.
Yeah, nicely played. They're able to make a response play to the opposite side of the map. They know that the Rift Herald's going to be going down soon enough. This is the big problem, is that they're going to lose mid tower, and they're also going to lose probably mid inner tower as well, just off the back of this play, because Koog's the only one here. They're going to trade one right there. They will lose this mid inner, which is a huge play. I don't think Washed Up John's going to be able to match that count. Okay, yeah, just take that, please. Okay, I was worried that they were going to let it charge or something, but yeah.
Don't let it go. Don't let it go.
I was really worried there for a second. But yeah, I do respect that they were able to find something on the opposite side of the map for the Vladimir, which is huge, but you did give up a really large amount of resource in exchange for it with that double mid lane tower going down, even with the kill. It's just not worth it for RPI in that sense, because again, as you said, when Nocturne is in team fighting and you can peel people, that's great. But in side lanes, if you're trying to push out side lanes with no mid towers down, with all this mid pressure that can come through, it's going to be really difficult. This is the outplay that we saw onto Loyal just a second ago. The Hemo Plague, the W to cancel the tower aggro, the stun that ends up coming through, all of the damage that comes out from everybody. Boss, ends up grabbing that kill. I would have loved to see it on Vladimir instead, just to continue that dominance. But either way, it was a solid idea, at least, to respond to the tempo that Western was bringing out on the map at the time.
And I do worry, the Hemo Plague was coming through, but Loyal did still have a little bit of health after that without that flash bear slap. Like I feel like things could have gone a little bit awry, so at least Bob's making the call there. We do have our first Dragon of the Dragon Soul, Infernal Dragon, up now, and it's already Western in front of it, already starting it up as well. Maybe not necessarily wanting to, as you have a lot of members running down the corner here for RPI.
They're ready for this one.
Yeah, they popped the Dominus here already on Cares Less. See what they can follow up. The Dragon's already gone, and Western have made out like bandits.
Yeah, that was just the door slammed in their face by the likes of Winston. Again, the only real massive engage you've got for this team is going to be the ultimate coming out of Aphelios with the Gravitum pulled, and that was there because he had the Gravitum Moonlight Vigil prepped. But again, if you lose the ability to have your front line stay in front of you the entire time because of the Morgana Q, you just can't take that fight. I do respect that. Now Washed John might have overstepped.
They're getting the TP in here from Cares Less. He wants to be active. There's the Mega Death Rocket. See where it's going to go. It's going to be a little wide. So immediately after that TP came down, Chim was like, no, I don't want it. I'm good.
Yeah, not a worry. They think they're happy more than anything just pulling that TP off, because there will come a time here in the next minute or two where if even one person dies off and it's not Caresless in a side lane, he can't really respond to a Baron play, so they have to keep Caresless kind of leashed in. And in a situation where you're already down this much gold, the Renekton is just going to continue bleeding, has none of this early game strength that you really would have wanted. So kind of a rough position to be in now, because now you can't even like side lane and just randomly push out waves up against the side of Chim when he's out of lane or doing something else to TP into a fight if necessary, because that tool is burnt. So I think Western made a good decision there, burning that tool and then just walking away, not wanting to give anything over to the Vladimir.
Yeah, I agree. You don't want to give any of those advantages back over. I do still want to go back and highlight to a point you had made earlier. I'm so happy right now, Rebel, that we don't have a crazy gold lead. We're tied 4-4 in kills, just at that 19-minute mark, and I really am so excited that RPI are able to kind of pull this one back after that game one performance. As what?
Did you see what gun setup was there for Coog?
Yes.
He's got red white man. That means that fight might be coming.
It's a fight. It's fight night.
It's always fight night with those two guns. I've said this a bunch of times. They're fantastic for trying to make picks happen. And I know you can't really step too far forward, but I know Coog was thinking about it. And that gun setup has been important for the entirety of the game for some of these fights. And I think it's going to be important continuing because, like we said, Gravitum's got to be there to start fights if they want to really long range engage. You got to have like Severum or Crescendum readily available if you want to be able to like duel against anyone that jumps into backline, especially Chim. That Severum is going to be massive to try to either use the burst from Moonlight Vigil or use that attack speed to get all of that regeneration, things like that. So these, it's not a complex character to play. I remember when he came out, people thought he was going to be like insanely complex, but having the right gun setup for these fights, knowing what you know and what tools you've got is going to be pretty important. Carousel gets a stun, but here's Winston hovering his top laner, trying to force down this bottom lane tower.
Yeah, immediately goes in. Here we got TPs again. It's the TP show here. Mega Death Rocket this time around. Sleepy Link, third time's the charm. As that's going to be huge for the ADC of Western and huge for Western in general, as they're going to continue putting on pressure in the bot lane to try to take this final outer tower.
The rocket was massive right there.
Re-engage, really well excited from the tower take, and Sleepy Lynx is able to get some damage, but it's going to be Loyal that gets the first kill of the fight. Double kill for Loyal itself. Wow. Excited on the Jinx. The Moonlight Vigil comes down. The Chakrams, not going to be enough to get Sleepy Lynx this time around, but that's huge for Western. Again, just snowballing these fights.
Oh, so like Western plays immaculately right here because you're able to grab this bottom lane tower. You grab bottom river for like the minute and 30-second timer until the next dragon to push them onto soul points. The problem I'm seeing though is that if Aphelios is allowed to auto attack, he is ripping through Western right now. That was terrifying to look at because even just single shots, single pot shots from Calibrum, actives or things like that look amazing. And yes, Western comes away completely winning in this situation because the bot lane take the multiple kills. This setup for Caresless to get this like binding into a Jinx rocket is just absolutely massive. But again, the ramifications of the fight after this, I feel like, are still threatening to the side of Western.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, they lose their outer tower. Also, just the fact that Sleepy Lynx takes this excited, goes into the fight, and it's the full team going forward after that one, with Loyal going in with the Emperor's Divide to kind of separate the fight a lot.
Boom,
yeah, a lot of damage coming in from Coog.
The Caliber Moonlight Vigil, there's an auto attack. Sleepy Lynx like 5% of his health. The auto attacks are there. If Coog can auto attack, he will win these fights. But Western has done a really good job boxing him out, using this CC to their advantage, and just picking off members slowly, one by one, making sure to never give the opportunity for that full 5-man engagement that would let Coog walk forward.
Yeah, and they're putting all their eggs into the top side of the map basket. As Chem was pushing that top side, looks like they might want to start Baron up. They were all pinging it, and they do have a lot of strength right now with the Azir, with the Jinx as well. It does look like they're going to go ahead and do it. Maybe just a little bit of a bait as they're trying to get JJ Kidd maybe to step forward here with the rest of the squad. Could be really interesting. Yeah, I was going to say, Boz is still on the bot side, so it would be an uneven fight for RPI if they want to take it. And I don't know if necessarily you want to give up a Baron for a second dragon, but it looks like that's going to be the case.
So the consideration here, I think, if you're on the side of RPI and you're trying to think about this one, I'm actually going to wait and see if they try to contest this Baron, because I don't know that it's the best of choices. That might be rough. I think you just walk away. Yeah.
Oh, no. I think you don't hit that death sentence there because you just sealed your fate. That's a big Emperor's Divide onto everybody from RPI. And look at Sleepy Lynx kicking that double kill here. And a wipe. Boz just shows up at the last moment to watch his team fall. A triple kill there. More going over to Western. And that is going to be another big dub for Western itself.
And it will. See, the thing was about this whole situation, I really think, honestly, that RPI was comfortable trading that objective. If you're willing to 5-on-5 right now, or if you're willing to take a little bit more damage on this map, you definitely can't contest both, as you saw right there, as just like mid lane tower, mid inhibitor is going to get barreled down. It was a good couple of kills that come into the favor of Washed Up John. But if you trade that dragon, yeah, I don't know what's happening right there. Sleepy
He's playing with so much confidence with Winston behind him. Winston's like, I got you, bro. Don't worry about it.
That you do. But again, RPI, I think, would have been comfortable trading that dragon only to buy themselves more time for the 5-on-5, which I think would have been their intention. They definitely didn't need, multiple members to come into the bottom side of that map to try to contest for the dragon, and that ended up costing them a fair amount, especially contesting the Baron. If they hadn't done that, I think they could have ended up in a pretty decent situation. Now Chim is kind of in a rough place. We'll see if he can 1v3 his way out of this.
Trouble here. There's the Graviton to stop him from getting away. Mega Death Rocket comes in just for a little bit of support. Buying a lot of time is Chim, but the shutdown, the gold going into the member that needs it most, Coop.
It's terrifying. You definitely don't want to give something like that away. If the Infinity Edge is purchased, there could be real trouble on the horizon. Washed Up John also picked up a couple of kills and got a ridiculous amount of ability haste.
Nice they tried moves to do the from Washed Up John.
The benefits of playing Vladimir versus playing Nocturne in the side lane. Nocturne doesn't have a W that protects him from anything, and Vladimir does. So we're good.
Yeah, we're also seeing Western push in this second-tier tower on the top side, and they've done such a good job of movement around the map and knowing where they want to focus, right? It's 4-1 in towers. They have had such control over where they are on the map. The only thing is those side lanes, those split pushers are starting to get caught out a little bit from the movements of RPI itself. And it looks like they want to go, okay, it's going to stop it, right? His tracks there, you were thinking maybe they were going to go for it, but Boz gets caught by that Dark Binding.
He could still go for it. Chim actually goes immediately to bottom side. This is the trigger. Yeah, there's no TP to go in this fight now.
This is it. This is an uneven fight. RPI maybe going to be able to pull this one out. Winston flashes away, still healthy though, and JJ Kidd is going to go down to a double kill, make it a triple kill to the ADC Sleepy Lynx. He's not going to be able to pull this. Maybe he will. No. Oh my God, Loyal making the plays to save Sleepy Lynx. Chim on the bot side all day long. TP's coming in. They're going for the throat. The day is done. RPI are dusted, and the University of Western Ontario are showing their strengths.
They came out attacking, they came out violent, and they did not allow for Coog to set his feet in fights at all, to just deliver auto attacks and let the poor man play the way that RPI was trying to design this late game, as it was lockets, it was everything, it was flashes. At no point was he able to actually get going on this Aphelios and end up taking over this 5-on-5 fight. And unfortunately, RPI, despite two of the closer games we've seen in the round of 32, will end up falling 2-0 to Western, who, again, what an immaculate performance from this team, playing against the team of the caliber of RPI and still looking as incredible as they did.
I have to say that, like, it was so even. We were so close. And 22 minutes later after we start the game, it's over. And 10K gold lead for Western. So, hey, they turn it on when they need to. I really appreciated the thought process, the decision-making going into that last fight for RPI. I thought they had the good idea. Maybe the target execution wasn't right, but it was a 4v5, and still, with the goal lead that they had, Western were able to take it whole-handedly. And I love the play there at the end for Sleepy Lynx with the stopwatch, being able to buy some time for Loyal to clean it up, because if not, if you lose that Jinx, maybe things change a little bit more, but it was a really, really good play there, at least called from RPI, and a little bit of a last breath for them.
I give a bunch of respect to RPI, because things that they did different from other teams that went down like 15, 20,000 gold or something like that were like, they had a composition where like they understood to some extent what they could do, like what their parameters were. They have an identity where it's like, okay, we're playing for 5-on-5, we're playing for later stages of the game, and then they executed on those really well when they had the opportunity to do so. It wasn't perfect, and it wasn't good enough to beat one of our top teams in the tournament, and there's not a lot of shame within that, which is unfortunate that they pulled one of our best 4, best 3 teams, whoever you want to consider it, depending on who you ask, it's there. But for what they showed, I was pretty impressed by RPI's performance. They ended up losing it in 0-2, but it was one of the closer 0-2s. And honestly, the fact that they just have an identity, they were playing to it pretty well, and their execution on that identity was also pretty strong. It gives me a lot of hope for this team going into the future, going into later tournaments and things of that sort. And maybe not playing against Western in the first round might have gotten them into a little bit deeper into this tournament. But big hats off to RPI for being one of our most competitive round of 32 teams to be knocked out in an 0-2.
Yeah, I got to give them some appreciation. But to talk a little bit more about the analytics, talk a little bit more about that series, we're going to go ahead and send it over to the analyst desk.
Thank you so much, Mazel and Rebel Fox, once again for taking us through that series. And guys, we've had 4 series on the Academy stream, 4 2-0s, but definitely felt like RPI, the team that has given the best fight in their losing effort going up against Western Ontario, definitely exposed a few things that they'll have to patch up going into next week. But let's just dive straight into the replays and going over this game. We're going to start things off actually with a positive play for RPI, how they started to get things going this game. It was all about Cougs Aphelios. Dylan, you teased it earlier in the day how this is a pick that's really big for them and their team. We got to see some of that in their losing effort today as we're going to start to get this clip rolling. And TJ, kind of walk us through what you saw early game coming out of the bot lane of RPI.
Yeah, so at this point in the game, it looked like UWO had a bit of an advantage, but RPI's bot lane was able to play a 1v2 scenario here, call in the TP, support comes back down, and they're able to get a couple of kills here. This sets up Aphelios for some pretty big success throughout the game. They could have chosen to give Vlad the kill here, but they ended up giving it to Coog. And that says something about the way that they wanted to play the rest of the game. They were saying, okay, this guy is going to be the one that we're playing through, and this guy is going to be our carry. And he had that performance throughout the game. He was trying his hardest for the entire game to win that series.
Yeah, Coog was doing his damnedest to keep his team in the game. And throughout the entire game, had a very good performance on the Aphelios, but I know that we have more replays to get through. And what ended up happening, UWO definitely started to take a lead after that replay. It felt like they were picking up a few more side lanes, really off the all-star performance from their top laner, Chim, I must say, from both games in this series. You got a huge CS leads, first with the set in game 1, then with the Nocturne in game 2. And Dylan, I know that going into this next fight where UWO, they kind of collapse upon the bot lane, get that shutdown, get that turret down, really start to open up the game for themselves. What were some of the positives that you were seeing out of UWO in this one?
Yeah, I mean, you highlighted it best. Chim just had an absolute, insane series here. He had a beautiful game on set in game 1, which, is one of his signature champions. He was playing it when it wasn't even really that popular of a pick, and with the buffs, it's kind of risen in popularity. In this Nocturne game, I mean, we were kind of talking about it on the desk, debating back and forth. Sure, the Thresh Lantern is helpful, but at the end of the day, I mean, this Nocturne is just doing so much damage before that even comes down that, oftentimes it's just so good. Skytech with a beautiful re-engage finds the double Nautilus ult. And Loyal on this Azir both games was really playing so well. Really good, Shurima shuffles into, knocking carries back into his team. And this is where things got pretty bad for RPI, right? This was the fight where Sleepy Lynx, Loyal, Chim, they were really able to kind of snowball their advantage. Winston in the jungle on Morgana was just playing so wonderfully throughout this game. Really good decision making. And it kind of all, came to a head at this point. And, RPI just fell a little bit too far behind.
I think it's important to note that in that last part of that fight as well, if that fight goes differently at all, Coog would have collected 3-4 more kills, and that would be a complete game changer. So it's really important when you're reviewing these types of games to say, like, hey, what could we have done better individually and then as a team to change the outcome of the game? Because that's where the best teams are made, and that's why UWO is able to move forward today.
Yeah, Coog's so close to being able to clean that one up as Sleepy Lynx hit the Jinx rocket from downtown, got out with just a little bit of HP left on that health bar, just enough to make sure the Jinx got out safely. But Coog was the big carry this game, and UWO was finally able to shut him down when they took this Baron. They were going to seed the Dragon. Udyr was on it. They set up the Baron. They also get the big team fight after as pulling this one up. TJ, I know this was really the play that broke the camel's back.
Right, and after this point, it's really hard to play the game when you're RPI. It just kind of, a Baron started to, hey, you're forced to come fight us, and so, they have to face check. Baron is taken, and this is where, as a team, it's kind of a little questionable, like, do we have to fight this, do we not? I always respect a flip like this, but at the end of the day, they just get instantly deleted. Like, all of those health bars were just gone immediately. So the big question there, like I said, is could we have waited for a different opportunity with like a flash hook or a flash Renekton stun, flank, etc.? That's not the route they chose, and this kind of did, break the camel's back, as you said.
Yeah, and it feels like, going into future series with UWO, I'm not exactly sure like how games are going to play out when they're not this far ahead. Because sure, they're able to make that kind of a Baron play in team fight when they are ahead, but let's say the gold's even. I wonder how their macro decisions will shift when they're not so far ahead and they're not able to just roll any fight that they take, because we kind of highlighted, in our post-game 1 recap as well as our game 2 recap. UWO with not the cleanest macro. It kind of feels like maybe, the practice hasn't been exactly perfect for the team, or some players, on different pages at various points throughout the game. I'm just curious as to see, in the round of 16, moving on in the tournament, how UWO is really going to clean everything up.
Definitely a team that wants to be bloodthirsty, as we saw in Game 1 with Skytech on that farming Rakan, finding engages left and right. Took a little bit longer to find those engages in this one, but end up coming out on top as we do have the game-winning fight. UWO did get a wipe in the last one. Koog so close, maybe a minion away from cleaning up the fight himself, but was not the case. As Dylan, take us through this fight.
Yeah, I mean, we're just seeing Koog. He is trying to literally just 1v9 this fight. His team is so far behind at this point. The Renekton not really offering anything just because of the black shield and the fact that he's so far behind. Vladimir gets blown up throughout most of this fight, but Koog, I mean, his positioning was really great. Obviously, misses the Aphelios ult there, but able to play so well with the chakrams plus the ranged gun. And if that minion did not block his Q, Jinx is dead, might be able to snipe Morgana as well, and then who knows, maybe the game doesn't end because he could pick up that kill on Azir and things could be different. But at the end of the day, I mean, Koog was trying his best. The team composition was built around protecting him. Who knows, if they drew a different Seed 1 opponent, I could see this team, with how they played the macro and the micro of this series, they could have been able to make it to the round of 16 had they had an easier opponent.
Right, so even though Koog did play very well in that fight, Winston, he had a great flash ult. Jinx was a very proactive flash away from the enemy abilities. So that's where, again, that hands diff, as you were alluding to earlier, comes in, where the important decision making and the ability to actually perform the actions really comes in and will shine. Because, fights like that, they can swing a game if they happen at 12, 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, and that's exactly what ended up happening, as UWO able to swing the fights in their favor, swing the game and the series in their favor, as they took a 2-0. And kind of breaking down what we saw, we are going to say goodbye to RPI. I think it's fair to say that was the best series that we've seen so far on this stream, the most closely contested in terms of what we saw in the gameplay. And that meant that a lot of things about UWO were exposed that other teams in future rounds might be able to exploit thanks to the play from RPI. Dylan, I want to start with you and kind of focus on Winston's jungling. I know that he had a great path for the double crab, but what did you think about this player who, as that academy experience, stepped into this roster a little bit later into the season, and his performance today?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that you can definitely say about Winston is that he's going to be a proactive shot caller for the team. He's going to make plays happen around him, and especially with these new jungle champions, it's nice to see him, picking up the Morgana. We know for a fact that he's got like the Rumble in his back pocket. I guarantee he's looking to play things like Lee Sin. He's just going to be a proactive jungler. He kind of reminds me of like that Odd Orange style of like, he's got that former experience playing at the top level. And he's going to bring that experience into collegiate, where some of these players are a little bit less, experienced. They're not really going to know exactly what to do in some complex scenarios. I think Winston brings a really nice perspective to this UWO team.
Going back to that Lee Sin pick that you mentioned, that'll be an exciting one to see as it steps out as the tournament goes on. It should be played mid, top, and jungle. And so Lee Sin is a champion with extreme skill expression. So a player like Winston, like Chim, who we know likes to play some weird stuff sometimes, it'll be really exciting to see if they're able to pull that champion out.
We talked a lot about hiding strats, and we've yet to see the Lee Sin played on this stream in a lot of these collegiate teams not picking that champion, one that we know is pretty strong on this patch. So curious to see if we get to see a little bit more of that as the tournament goes on, but not the case yet. Speaking of the tournament going on too, that's it for us in terms of this first series. We do have 2 more on the day as well as we are going to move forward, but we aren't going to have University of Toronto Esports and the Boise State matchup going on until a little bit later. That will be starting at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific time. If you want to tune into that. Until that match starts, we will be running some content. We're also going to be running any of the other games or matchups that we have here going on at the Upsurge Esports or Unified EA streams. You want to check those out, as well as this weekend is filled with nothing but a lot of collegiate action. Is kind of feels pretty similar to the first round of March Madness, if with all the games going on and the 3 streams, the multiple channels. I'm having trouble keeping up. I hope that the viewers at home are doing their best to try and keep up, as we have a lot of people working on putting together some wonderful broadcasts, wonderful content, and featuring these collegiate teams and players and programs who have qualified for the top 32. That said, we are going to be saying goodbye to RPI. A noble performance from them going up against UWO, but the 2-time defending finalists, a little bit too much to overcome. And before we take off for a little bit of time, TJ, want to get your thoughts, final words on the series that we had on our hands today. Anything for UWO or RPI as they walk away from this tournament?
I think that it was a 2-0, but that doesn't show like the exact clear story of the game. The games. UWO had an advantage. They were playing better. Their individual players were probably better across probably all the roles. But that doesn't mean that they didn't show kinks in their armor and that RPI didn't punish some of those mistakes. So I was very happy to see a team be able to challenge the finalists and say, hey, you're not invincible. So going forward in the tournament, I'm looking forward to seeing if anyone else can expose those things and really punish them.
Yeah, it feels like, if a team like Maryville or, Harrisburg or another top team, Winthrop, I don't think UWO, based off this first series, is in a great position to make it back to the finals if they go up against one of these really, really strong collegiate programs that has been playing in proving grounds, that has been, doing some real damage against other amateur and academy teams. It's going to be interesting to see. I guarantee that over the next week, UWO is going to be practicing. They're going to be, working out some of those kinks, because a lot of it was decision making. The players had very good micro. It was kind of their macro and decision making that left a little bit to be desired for such a prestigious college program. It's going to be interesting to see them in the round of 16. Based off who their opponent is and just how they, change things up in the next week.
And we're going to have to see how all the teams can make those adaptations throughout the tournament, as we have talked a lot about hiding strategies for some of the stronger teams. RPI, props to them. They did force UWO to bring their best team fighting A game, as we got to see a lot of those wombo combos. But everyone, that's going to be it for us for the first series. And unfortunately, we have no game 3s. Purdue was able to clean up their series as they won 2-0, and the Unified EA series was also a 2-0 over there in favor of Illinois State, I believe, as well. So going to have a lot of content to fill up in the next 40 to 50 minutes, but stay tuned. 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. We're going to have University of Toronto Esports going up against the Boise State Broncos and see which one of those programs can move on to the round of 16. Until then, I'm Matt Cumbie Samuelson, joined by Dylan and Command Attack. Going to be it for us for now. We'll see you later.